Welcome into the Commanders Report. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we got a loaded edition of Commanders news and rumors to cover on today's show. First up, Jahan Dotson trade destinations. It seems like Dotson could be on the hot seat, so what are some of the other teams in the National Football League that might want to trade for his services? We'll break it down at the top of the show. Then I have two current NFL free agents that are cornerbacks that I think could be the number one corner in the Washington Commanders starting cornerback room today if they ended up signing him. And then we have an update on the injury status of Johnny Newton at the end of today's show, so make sure you guys stick around. But before we get into the content today, we are doing a sub-battle with our frenemies at the Cowboys Report this week. And so far this week, they have added 62 new subscribers, and we have added 39. All right, so we need to come back on these guys. We need to put together a nice stretch of runs here and get some subscribers in there. So new viewers, we're counting on you guys. If you're subscribed, you're already a part of this total here. You guys can't help me out, so I'm relying on the new people to click that subscribe button right now to help our channel beat the Cowboys this week. So let's get into the Jahan Dotson conversation today. And it definitely sounds like Jahan is on the hot seat, all right? Guys like Dyami Brown and Olamide Zaccheaus are kind of ascending in training camp, and it seems like Dotson has underwhelmed the new Commanders coaching staff to this point. So the question begs here, could he be valuable in a trade? Because there's even some rumblings that they might even consider cutting Jahan Dotson, a former first-round pick. But as a former first-round pick, I think there are some teams in the National Football League that may consider trading for his services before the start of the 2024 season. And in that way, he can still be valuable to the Washington Commanders. The top destination for me is that I would be calling the San Francisco 49ers to see what they thought of Jahan Dotson. If they're interested in making a trade, I am absolutely willing to deal with the San Francisco 49ers. Personally, I still want Brandon Aiyuk on the Washington Commanders. I know that all these reports are saying that the Commanders have been out of this for a while now, but now that the price tag has probably gone down because the Pittsburgh Steelers are lowballing the San Francisco 49ers right now, perhaps San Francisco is willing to take a much lower price along with Jahan Dotson in exchange for Brandon Aiyuk, and the Commanders can get Jaden Daniels' best friend in that wide receiver room, not to mention he's an all-pro caliber receiver. I think that this would be the biggest move that Adam Peters could potentially make here before the start of the 2024 season. And it could look something like this. The Commanders get Brandon Aiyuk, and they send a second-round pick next year and a third-round pick in 2026. It's not bad compensation there for an all-pro receiver in Aiyuk. Plus, you can throw Jahan Dotson in there as a sweetener. It's well reported that the 49ers are looking for a receiver in return in any potential trade for Brandon Aiyuk. Steelers don't have any receivers that they're willing to give up to the 49ers at this point. So it seems like the Commanders could still potentially swoop in here and make this trade. But if Aiyuk is truly off the Commanders' radar right now, you could just trade Jahan Dotson to the 49ers for maybe like a 5th or a 6th round pick. I think because Dotson is on the roster bubble right now, he has disappointed since coming into the league. His trade value is definitely somewhere around the day 3 range, whether that's an early day 3 pick or a later day 3 pick. I guess we'll see what happens if the Commanders make him available via trade. My best guess is right now it'd be a 5th or 6th round pick. So let me know down there in the comments section, which trade would you rather have for Jahan Dotson? Would you rather have the trade where you trade for and pay Brandon Aiyuk around $28 million per season, or would you rather just trade Jahan Dotson in exchange for a early day 3 draft pick? Give me a 1 or a 2 for today's pinned comment. YouTube's going to throw you an ad break here in just a couple of seconds, and when that happens, take advantage of that time by answering today's pinned question. Some other candidates in terms of teams that could be very much interested in Jahan Dotson. The Pittsburgh Steelers have been well known to be looking for a number 2 wide receiver. Pittsburgh could certainly be an option there. And, of course, Jahan went to school in Pennsylvania at Penn State. Then Kansas City, obviously, they got Xavier Worthy, and they've got some other weapons there. Of course, they still have Travis Kelce, but they could certainly use another former first-round pick at wide receiver as well. And then the Buffalo Bills, they got Keon Coleman this year, but they lost Davis, gave Gabe Davis and they lost Stephon Diggs this offseason. So, they definitely could use some help here for Josh Allen, and Jahan Dotson as a former first-round talent could certainly help them. And then some less likely destinations, but some names I've been seeing thrown around: the Ravens, the Lions, the Chargers, Broncos, Raiders, and Falcons are also some teams that could use another wide receiver, especially for one as cheap on the trade market as Jahan Dotson is as a former first-round pick. So coming up here on the Commanders Report, I got two current free agents that are cornerbacks that I think could be the number one corner for the Washington Commanders if they were signed today. But before I reveal who those two corners are, let's have a word from our sponsor here at Game Time, which is the fastest and easiest way to buy tickets for the sports, music, comedy, and theater in your area. And we all know, guys, that when experiencing a sporting event, especially a football game live, is unlike anything you can get from watching the game on your couch. So if you love to say, I was there for all of your favorite teams' biggest moments, Game Time has a new feature called Game Time Picks that makes getting your tickets to see your favorite team play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets on multiple ticketing apps. I used Game Time Picks just this past weekend to go watch the Texas Rangers play the Minnesota Twins at Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas, and Game Time Picks got us the best possible deal on some great seats to watch my Twins give up a 4-0 lead. But whether my team wins or loses, guys, what I love about using the Game Time app is that you get the lowest price guarantee on any ticket to any event, all-in pricing so you don't get slapped with crazy fees at checkout, and flash deals so you can get even cheaper tickets the closer you wait to the start of your event. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time today. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS. That's one word, all caps, CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. So let's get into these two corners that I would sign today if I were GM Adam Peters. Now, it certainly seems like the Commanders might be good with their current cornerback depth chart. And, I definitely have my concerns with Emmanuel Forbes, but it does seem like he is slated to be their number one corner this year. And Michael Davis seems to be the guy slightly in the lead over Benjamin St-Juste for that second cornerback spot. Mike Sainristil is pretty much locked in as that slot defender. You don't have to worry about him at all. But I still think the Commanders, at least if I were running the team and I really wanted this team to be competitive this season, and I didn't want to save as much cap as possible for 2025, the guy that I would bring in is Xavien Howard, who I am very surprised has not gotten a contract to this point in the NFL offseason. I mean, I think that this is somebody that can still be a very, very solid cornerback, especially in a system like the Commanders, where Xavien Howard has been one of the best press man corners in the National Football League for a very long time. He's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He is a 2-time All-Pro, and he's had 3 Pro Bowls in the last 4 seasons, all right? And last year was kind of a down year for him because he was playing injured. He was in a system there with Miami that runs a Vic Fangio-style off-coverage type system, and that doesn't really fit his skill set. He's always been more of a press man corner, going back to his days with the Brian Flores defense when he was still there. He was awesome in that defense back in those days with Flores. And I do think Dan Quinn and Joe Witt Jr., the new DC here in Washington, are going to be playing a very similar system to what he was asked to do there with Brian Flores, and I think that he could be an excellent fit with the Washington Commanders. Plus, at this point, he's going to be coming extremely cheap for somebody that would probably be your number one cornerback heading into the year. Another guy that you could consider somebody that knows this division extremely well is Adoree Jackson, who had a really tough season for the New York Giants last year. Man, his grade, they tried him out in the slot for a little bit. He was terrible in the slot. He's not a slot guy. He's more of a press man corner. And last year, you could see it in the Pro Football Focus grading. It was not good whatsoever, guys. A 48.6 Pro Football Focus grade last year, which is probably why nobody is picking him up. But throughout his career, guys, it's been pretty dang solid. Around a mid-70s there in the Pro Football Focus grading. Now, obviously, PFF grades aren't gospel, right? They're not 100%. You should take them at their word. But, it is a nice tool to look at here to see throughout a person's career how productive they have been. And I do think Adoree Jackson, especially put in a system like the Commanders where he'd be asked to do what he's most comfortable with, and that's play press man coverage. I think he could still potentially be a decent player here in the National Football League. Plus, he knows this division inside and out as playing for the Giants for 3 years, so he has that a little advantage as well. So make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already to help us out here at the Commanders Report. It's a free and easy way to help this video get out to as many Commanders fans as possible. That's how the YouTube algorithm works. The more people that like the video, the more they recommend it to other Commanders fans on the platform. So if you want to help us grow here, super easy way to do that is click that thumbs up icon. Now, before I go here, I do have a little bit of a Johnny Newton injury update. We got it from Dan Quinn, the head coach of the Commanders, before practice today. And apparently, it is a soft tissue foot injury. So, of course, he had the same procedure done on each of his feet during this offseason. He hasn't really been able to train. He hasn't been able to do a lot of things, and now he's dealing with a non-related soft tissue foot injury that has nothing to do with his procedures this offseason. Now, Dan Quinn did tell the media here that Newton is going to start getting ramped up for the season this week. I kind of really doubt we're going to see him play on Sunday against the New England Patriots, but it sounds like he might be ready to go and play a little bit in a rotational role to start this season here when we play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Week 1. But listen, man, Johnny Newton has become a big question mark. When they drafted this kid out of Illinois in the second round, I thought it was one of the steals of the draft, but he hasn't really participated a whole lot throughout this entire process, even going back to rookie minicamp, and it definitely seems like he's going to be more of a rotational piece this year because of that, instead of being a mainstay as a starter on this defensive line, which is, I thought, something that would have been possible if he would have been healthy this entire time. Plus, all these foot issues, man. He's getting a bunch of these foot injuries. He's had them on each foot. It's like you have to start wondering, is this going to be a lingering issue for Johnny Newton throughout his career? The best ability is availability. We all know that, guys. And right now, Johnny Newton hasn't been available. So hopefully, after this soft tissue issue, everything is going to be just fine for Johnny. But if you want to wish Johnny Newton a speedy recovery here and you hope that he's on the field for Week 1 versus the Buccaneers, spam those 95s to show some love to one of the newest Commanders on the team. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Again, we are in the middle of a sub battle this week with our frenemies at the Cowboys Report. So help us win that sub battle. Take down the Cowgirls this week. Click that subscribe button. We'll have another video for you guys tomorrow on the Commanders Report live show. So make sure you join us at 5 p.m. Eastern time to never miss a show.